first thing in communicating vision is decomposing the vision into meaningful goals and objectives. If you have any problems with my team, you talk to me. Don't go to them. So that helped me, like winning the trust that, okay, this person is on our side, is pushing us, but is protecting us. Accept, celebrate failures which occurred in the journey of excellence. Like you are trying to chase a big dream, you failed. They should be celebrated as scars that are beautiful scars, that you tried something and then you will remember that you tried something.
Welcome to Navigating the Next, the podcast that explores what it really takes for organizations and leaders to thrive in a world of constant change. Today, we're diving deep into the heart of vision, culture, and creating impact that lasts. Joining us is Mr. Ramesh Talagampa, a leader who has shaped teams and cultures at some of the world's most dynamic organizations. In this episode, Mr. Ramesh reveals how a clear vision and intentional culture aren't just corporate buzzwords. They're strategic tools for aligning teams, adapting rapidly, and building resilience at every level. So, whether you're an aspiring leader, a seasoned executive, or simply curious about what drives lasting impact, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Ramesh, thank you so much for joining us on this podcast today. I have had a great time knowing about your experience and your career so far. And we're thrilled to have you on this podcast. And I'm very curious to know what you've got to share. And I'm sure everyone who's watching this podcast is equally waiting with as much curiosity as I am. So, shall we get started?
Yeah, let's get started. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. And I'm fascinated seeing the entire infrastructure and how you're training the students. So yeah, let's get started.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Sure. As a senior leader and a head of talent acquisition at a global tech-driven company, how do you personally relate to the mission of driving vision and culture, especially in a company or in a world that's changing so fast?
That's an interesting question to begin with. But I want to start by saying that when you're in a leadership role, driving vision is not optional.
Yeah.
It is the minimum expectation from any leader. So there are two fundamental expectations from any leader. One is driving vision. Another one is delivering results. Any leader who is not driving results or not driving vision becomes a burden on the organization. So coming to me, personally, how I relate to driving vision is the two different things happen whenever I look at a vision statement, right? One is the more objective evaluation of what this vision means to me. Another one is a mental process, right? So I'll tell you about the objective part first, right? When I look at the vision, I will have to break it down into pieces and say, decompose it first and then connect it again and say, okay, where are we going? 2-3 years down the line, when we are half the way, when I look back, does it make sense to see, all the effort that we put in worth? And then the second one is, what are the possible obstacles that we may face in realizing this vision? The third one is, what support systems, resources we will need to go after this vision? So that's the most objective part of relating to the vision. The mental process, the emotional process is more, does it make sense? Like, I'm an individual who I am. Now, if I need to be on this vision, will I be able to closely relate that to my personality, right? Will I be really happy doing it? Because it's super important, Praseedha. As a leader, if I'm not convinced about the vision, I will not be able to passionately drive that vision. Yes. So I will do disservice to my team and myself. So to sum it up, whenever I need to relate to a vision, I will have to really look at objectively once and personally relate, internalize that vision. So that's the mechanism that happens, whenever I look at a vision statement.
Yeah. I think translating that vision into action is where the culture part comes.
Yeah.
So Can you share a pivotal moment in your career where your vision has shaped the direction of a project or a team? So, in doing that, what are the challenges that you have faced, if any, and
Right.
how did you overcome them?
Absolutely. I think the question, calling it as my vision shaped the direction for the team sounds a little not so humble, because it was my job to do it. I was paid to do that job. This was, I can actually share an example 15 years back when I actually moved into a full-fledged leadership role. My experience was too less. I had like 6 years of experience to get into that role. I was managing people who has more experience than I had at that point in time. And within 3 months, the company, it's a beautiful company, great talent, amazing team. But the strategy actually shifted, the business strategy shifted. The company had to double its size. And 15 years before, the talent acquisition teams that we see today are not the same talent acquisition teams that we saw earlier.
Of course.
They weren't that visible.
Yeah.
And in most companies, talent acquisition teams were seen as a transactional unit of the organization. So two things I had to do. If we had to really double the org size, I had to really position my team completely different and inspire my team towards that. One, I had to tell my team that we are not a transactional unit. Every time we hire an engineer, we're actually adding to the revenue of the company. The second thing is we are not order takers. Let's operate like partner, right? Now, just look at that transition of Praseedha comes to me and says, hey, you need to do this, I'll go run. Versus asking, okay, why do you want me to do this? Can you give me more details? Why do you want to hire this kind of talent? Where does it fit in the overall strategy? Now it looks easy. 15 years back, it was really tough because whenever you're trying to change things, the first thing that the team responds you with is fear. There's a lot of discomfort, right? Because you're used to working in a certain way, and now your manager is coming and saying, nope, this is not good enough. We need to change.
Yeah.
So I had to deal with a lot of resistance, a lot of fear. But I think that's where I had my learnings of leading from front and be one of the team member. One of the things I used to do is I used to travel with my team for the recruiting events that we were doing. I used to be there, coordinate events, pick up resumes, introduce candidates to the hiring panel, do all of that. So it took about 5 to 6 months for my team to really realize that, this is the value that we're adding to the organization. And it actually started a conversation about what should be our operating principles as a TA team. Right? And then it matured over the years. But within 3.5 years, I left the company. So now the company has been acquired and then a lot of other things happened. But I see the team members who worked with me then have actually flourished in their careers. So, which means I think we did a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think all of the team members that worked with you then, they must be really appreciative and grateful to you for having that foresight, especially when it was not so commonplace for recruiters or a TA team to directly relate to the purpose and vision of the company.
Yeah.
So
they hated me to begin with. But then when I talk to them, they actually share the same experience. Hey, you know what? I'm trying to tell this to my team. They don't get it. So that's the whole thing about leadership, right? You need to see what the team is not seeing and then actually take them along with you. One of the things that also helped me is when they saw me protecting the interest of my team and protecting my team. Generally, we are at the receiving end, right? Like there'll be a lot of escalations coming in. I'll go into the forefront and say, I'll manage this. If you have any problems with my team, you talk to me. Don't go to them, right? So that helped me, like winning the trust that, okay, this person is on our side, is pushing us, but he's protecting us. So that was a great learning, and I continue to do that in any company and any team that I'm working with. Yeah.
Great to know. So, how has your experience working across different organizations influence or shape your perspective on building intentional culture?
Right. The word that intentional culture is so meaningful. So before even I get to how do we build or how my perspectives have changed about intentional culture, I want to actually spend a minute to understand culture as a concept, right? We're living in a country which is culturally diverse, and we see a lot of things.
Yes.
Let me give you a couple of examples, right? Metaphors from cricket. I don't know if you understand cricket, but why Australian cricket team always produced great pacers, great all-rounders, and good fielders. Why Pakistan team always produced great pace bowlers. And you're an engineer, you know this yourself. Why South India produces more engineers than the northern part of India, and the northern part of India produces more civil servants than the southern part of India. So some of these examples are examples for intentional culture. Some of them are unintentional culture. So culture comes into picture as part of your journey, and then you don't know some of these things actually come and sit in the place where they are sitting. The problem with that unintentional culture is over a period of time there is a sense of rigidity that takes place, right? You can't really change it. Some of the customs that we have in India or in any society that we have. So that makes it really difficult. That's a problem or the side effect of unintentional culture. So to a lot of organizations also that happens. Culture happens to them, right?
Yes.
They did not build it. A bunch of people come together, they have a mission, they go after it. And then as part of that, there is unwritten rules that they operate with. Same problem they face. If they need to change gears, if they need to shift, it is very difficult to really go back and see what worked for us, what didn't work for us. Fortunately for me, Praseedha, I worked with companies with great culture and companies which build that culture intentionally, very consciously, right? And some of the things that these companies have done, and if I have to really encapsulate that, I would call it as two I's. Not the eyes, but the I's. Is one is inspiration, another one is infrastructure. Any great culture starts from inspiration. It's either you're trying to solve a problem, you're coming up with a product or a solution or a service, or you have a great leader. Great leader is mandatory in building intentional culture. So all of these great leaders that we've seen, business leaders, or you take Nelson Mandela, you take Gandhi, any great leader, they actually come and inspire you with certain values and say, this is what is going to take us to the next stage, or this is how we need to operate with, right? So that's important. And then so that's the inspiration part. The infrastructure part is everything, the mechanisms that you have, the structures that you have, your org structure, your recognition mechanism, what you celebrate, and what you're zero tolerant about, right? All of that infrastructure is really important. And I've seen all of these great companies that I worked with they use their values in their daily life. Say if I'm reporting into you and you are my manager, you need to give me feedback, performance feedback. You will give me feedback in terms of the values that you've written down earlier. And these values are part of your signatures. These values are there on your t-shirt. These values are written all over the intranet that you're using. So it is recollection, remembering, reminding people that this is who we are. So culture, in a way, it's an expression of your vision in the form of values and beliefs. It's the same, right? Vision and culture is the same, but then you're expressing your vision in culture by coming up with, okay, these are the principles that we operate with, right? So yeah, that's a summary on the intentional culture.
Beautifully explained. So I was about to ask you as a follow-up question, how in, let's say, companies that are already very large, how do leaders ensure that the culture is consistent throughout? But I think from your answer, I picked that the inspiration is the key.
Inspiration is the key. And then a lot of these companies which are really great at culture, they give that autonomy while the broader umbrella is your values. Like you operate, you go, do your thing, but this is the value that is binding all of us. So there is no going back on that value. right? If you go back on that value, you're compromising on the overall culture of the company, and that is not appreciated. So yeah, they give a lot of autonomy, but the binding factor is the values that they intentionally brought into picture. Yeah.
So, in your role as a talent acquisition leader, how do you communicate vision and purpose so that everyone understands and aligns to it, even as the environment shifts quickly?
Yeah, communicating vision. I think there's a lot of research work that happened. There's a lot of literature available. There are a lot of proven mechanisms to communicate vision. But I would probably use a metaphor even before going into what are the mechanisms that we can use. Uh, for a second, let's both imagine that we are Wright brothers,
Okay.
and we are coming up with the first mission that can fly, right? If we both went and told our team, if it's a company, just imagine, Wright brothers did it on their own, like scientists.
Yeah.
But if you have to do that through a company or a team, if you go and tell this to the team, they will tell you are mad. It's an insane goal. This is not going to happen. This never happened. But let's imagine that we break that into different components and say we have 3 different teams and say, hey, you know what? I want you to actually build an engine which can help me fly. And go to another team and say, help me build wings that can actually survive this kind of pressure in the air, right? At 30,000 feet high. Then it sounds little less insane, little less mad, right? So the first thing in communicating vision is decomposing the vision into meaningful goals and objectives. Harvard Business School calls them as bhags, which is big, hairy, audacious goals, right? So whenever you have vision, you first need to break it down to goals that are relatable, that sound bold but are relatable. Once you do that, and I've worked with like wonderful leaders in my career. I've implemented some of these, I've copied some of these mechanisms. All the great leaders that I worked with, they've used mechanisms like involving the team, brainstorming with the team in breaking down the vision, and asking them, having those brainstorming sessions that, okay, this is the vision. Now, let me know how you're going to decompose this. What are the goals that you're going to set up for yourself and for your team? So, engaging with the team when you are coming up with the goals is the most effective way of communicating vision, because then you are the top boss coming up with the vision. You're asking me to break down that into goals. I'm already sold on that idea because I am contributing to it. So then I have trust. A lot of things will be taken care. And then there are a lot of institutionalized mechanisms, like you do trainings, you do sessions, you do Q&A sessions with the team to really gain the trust of the team and also help them understand why this vision is important. Yeah, so if I have to summarize, is break it down, involve the team, gain the trust of the team, communicate with a lot of passion and clarity, and also engage with the team on a regular basis. So one of the things, probably a lot of companies who didn't get that vision executed, is they come up with these bold goals, they break it down, they share, but then the engagement after that goes for a toss. If that happens, then your vision gone for a toss. So regular engagement with the team and retrospecting what worked and what doesn't work, is there any course correction that is required, is also important. Yeah, that's the overall summary on communicating vision.
So, can you describe how do you build an adaptable and resilient culture, especially in times of, say, uncertainty or change?
Yeah, I love that word resilience, because I myself would love to describe as someone who has a lot of resolve. I don't actually mind falling and getting up. I was speaking to my mentor the other day, and I called him and I was like, I'm feeling low. I don't know why. I don't know what am I doing. probably I need to take a break and all of that. And he said, Ramesh, whatever I've seen you as a warrior. You fall, you get up, you pick up your sword, and then you're running again. So, which is a good thing to do in life, and I want to actually inculcate that habit in my kids also. Now, coming back to teams, a resilient culture is a result of a lot of trust, a lot of accountability and ownership to make decisions, and a lot of acceptance for failure, right? So whenever I work with teams, I always tell them is there are non-negotiable values for me when we're operating as a team is you demand excellence from each other. You just don't appreciate average, below average work just because of the friendships, right? While you're demanding excellence from each other, you support each other unconditionally. You're not doing any favor by supporting each other unconditionally. It's your job to do it. And then go together, fail fast. It's fine to fail, but fail fast. Don't wait for months and years to pass by. Just move fast and fail fast. So as leaders, when we accept and give a forum for the teams to come up with ideas and fail, and if they see consistently that failing is not a problem, they will not be worried about failures anymore. They will not be worried about the change anymore because they know they can experiment. They know that they can give it a shot. And if something goes wrong, you can always fall back. And then also build a culture of psychological safety. And this word is misused and abused also. Psychological safety is not like you go and tell everything, anything, whatever comes to your mind. Psychological safety is like operating in that principles, and then going and talking about what you're going through, right? And then going and talking about things that you didn't like, right? So as long as these ingredients are in place, teams will manage change. Teams will manage very, very difficult tasks. Teams will be fine to navigate through any difficult scenarios or situations.
Thank you so much for that insight. So, are there any signature practices or rituals that you believe are central or critical to building high impact teams at scale?
Yeah. Having a high performing team is a dream of every organization, right? You not only organizations, you take sports, you take anything, right? It's a dream, and it's an elusive dream, right? There is a lot of research, literature is available, a lot of playbooks that have been shared all over the internet that this is what it takes to build a high performance culture. But the problem is knowing and doing are two different things. There is a lot of difference when you go and implement what you know. It's I'm going to use the same again, the cricket metaphor.
Sure.
When you are a fast bowler and you will learn, practice bowling an outswinger for hours together, right? But when you're in the match, in that situation, and you're trying to do something of that sort, it's not going to be as smooth as what you are doing at the coaching, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a overnight thing. It takes a longer time to build that culture of high performance. So the first thing is you need to have a great leader, great philosophy, and have patience to build high performance culture. Now it starts with hiring A players, hiring people who are great, right? And the second thing is taking up goals which are bold enough, which makes you feel like, oh my God, I feel like an underdog. Can I deliver this? Right? It's like, this is very difficult. Unless you take up bold goals, you can't really build high performance culture, right? So when you take up goals that you can actually deliver, you're not driving the team towards high performance, and they get used to it, and you can't really change gears from there.
Yeah.
The third thing is building the infrastructure, right? You again, an example, right? If you want someone to go really fast at 120 speed, you can't really give them an old car and say, now go drive, right? So the infrastructure, the facilities, whatever support mechanisms that you need for the team, you need to really give that to the team. The fourth one is more important one, and I could be probably misunderstood for saying this, is in any high performance culture, there should not be any place for mediocrity. Do not celebrate below average work at all. The moment you start celebrating average, below average work, you're actually giving a contradicting message to your team saying, hey, we want to be a high performance culture, but it's okay. We will celebrate this too. And then your team is not motivated. You're not setting the right tone. So yeah, those are my few thoughts on building high performance culture.
Thank you. Brilliant insights.
Thanks. Yeah.
So, adding to that, how do you inspire teams to create outcomes, not just for the moment, but in ways that last?
Right. We've spoken about building high performance teams, right? I think this is a continuation to the previous question we were talking about. So when you build high performance culture, you're actually building it for the long run, right? It's not short term, right? Now, I will just add a couple more points and relate it to what we've spoken earlier. Is when you build a high performing team and you want that team to deliver a result that lasts longer and impacts your long term vision, is obviously the vision is important, leadership is important, but some of the things that are even more important is the mechanisms and the solutions that you build should actually outlive the leaders themselves, right? Otherwise, so what I'm trying to say is, if a leader built a high performing team, that team should outlive that leader.
Yeah.
So how can you make that possible is building sustainable mechanism processes that will automatically take care of high performance, right? So yeah, that's how the high performance will last longer and will have a long-term impact on the organization. While we are building the high performance culture, as leaders, we need to be aware of the fact that there is a maximum threshold to high performance culture. And if you're not aware of that, it will cause a lot of stress and it will cause a lot of burnout to the team. So being aware of what is the maximum threshold is super important for any leader, and don't push teams beyond that. Don't expect anything beyond that. So I'll give you an example. It took about 100 years for Usain Bolt to beat that world record of 100 meter sprint. And I don't know, it'll take another century for someone to come and break Usain Bolt's record. So when you already met your maximum threshold, that's where you need to say, this is our North Star. If we constantly hit this, that is good. So we need to be really aware of that fact as leaders.
So, how do you help new hires or emerging leaders, importantly, to internalize the company's vision and values from day one?
I think of all the topics that we discussed, this is probably the most straightforward one.
Okay.
A lot of companies actually do a very good job of onboarding their employees. In all the companies that I worked with, I've observed this. Most companies have a very structured onboarding plan for any new leader or any new employee, where the onboarding plan talks about what is the culture, what are the values, what is the scope of your role, what is expected out of you, what are the resources available. So it's a very, very comprehensive plan where you're trying to set people up for success, to assimilate them into your culture. The second mechanism which is accepted one is whenever a new joiner starts with a company, there is a 30, 60, 90 days plan where it will be clearly mentioned that within 30 days you need to do these things. You need to meet your stakeholders, you need to understand your customers, you need to understand the challenges and the limitations. And so there will be a clear plan that will be given to the employee. And the most effective one of all of this is because, going through the training materials, going through these plans, this is boring, right? It's time consuming. But when you have a very good buddy, when you are paired up with a very good buddy who can actually take you through all of this, not only just take you through, but they will actually tell you what they have gone through when they join. So the biggest advantage with a buddy program for a new joiner is you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to learn what they've already learned. So you can actually, in a way, you are standing on the shoulders of someone else, and you're seeing the world or the company or your surroundings from a much bigger height than the previous person did. So yeah, these are the widely accepted mechanisms that companies follow, and I follow as a leader too. I can't really think of anything else apart from this, but they do a good job. All of these things that I've discussed, they actually help in onboarding new employees into and they could be, online assessments about the culture, about the operating principles. So all of them putting together as one program helps the employee onboard really well with the company.
Yeah. So, what personal habits or mindsets do you recommend for leaders who are working towards building purpose and resilience into their teams?
I can actually talk about what worked for me. I don't know if I'm in a position to really recommend or give suggestions to others. And it becomes much more important today because the world is changing too fast. I don't know who said this. I think it's Lenin, that nothing happens in decades, but decades happen in weeks. That's what's happening now.
Yeah.
And it is a responsibility of every leader to be that torchbearer, to be that pillar of strength to their teams. And the way that they can do it is, one, to keep pace with the changing world. I think we need to adopt to learn it all kind of mindset, right? That I should be able to, I can't really learn everything, but
Yeah.
should be able to understand what's going on. So constant reading and then talking to people, interacting with people within the industry, and more importantly, interacting with people who are your front line, right? So keeping the ears to the ground is super important. Those are some of the habits, and mindset is empathy. This world is changing so fast, and we are expecting our teams and ourselves to really move as fast as the world is changing. Sometimes it may not be possible. So we should be able to kind of go to our team and tell it's okay, it's fine. And then again, I've spoken about this earlier. Accept, celebrate failures which occurred in the journey of excellence. Like you are trying to chase a big dream, you failed. Though they should be celebrated as scars that are beautiful scars, that you tried something and then you will remember that you tried something. So when we can inculcate this kind of culture within the teams, team will thrive. Teams will do a great job.
Yes, thank you for that insight. In your experience, what is the single most critical ingredient for a leader who will thrive in today's world?
I don't know, Praseedha, if I can talk about one single thing, but if I have to put a lot of things into one word, that would be being bold. The world is again changing too fast. The role of leaders is becoming much more complicated. When I say be bold or being bold is leadership a lot of times is a lonely place. You can't even go share what you're going through. You will be misunderstood by your teams. There will be a lot of unfair judgment that will be made, including comments. So you should be comfortable with being misjudged, being passed on comments, or being underestimated that you are trying to drive this, but we are now going to get there. So being bold is one thing that I tell myself every day, and then I would give that suggestion to anybody who wants to get into leadership role, because you will fail a lot of times, especially in the profession that I'm in. I'm in recruiting. So what do we do as recruiters daily? Is we fail more often than we succeed. And how, I'll tell you. I have a position to fill. I or my recruiters will line up 10 candidates. We'll only get one candidate shortlisted. So 9 out of 10 times I'm failing. I should be resilient and bold to take that up every day, right? And there'll be a lot of things that comes into picture, a role conflict. I'm a parent, I'm a brother, I'm a son to my parents, and I'm also doing my job. And there will be conflicting situations where I need to support my family. Also, at the same time, I have something really, really important. And for a bold, if you're not a bold person, you can't really manage all of this,
Definitely.
right? So, being bold is one thing that I suggest and tell myself, I remind myself, like, be bold, just go for it. Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up, actually. You also talked about being comfortable with being misjudged. I think that applies to, that is most critical when you're being bold. These are the unintended consequences that come along with it. So thank you for talking about that too.
Yeah, I also always use this metaphor with my team. I ask them in one-on-ones, like over coffee chats or all companies that I worked with, right? Is how many times did you hate your parent? It could be your dad or your mom. They do tell me that, yeah, I hated when they asked me to finish the homework, or they told me, don't pick up these codes, pick up that codes. Now, my logic is, this is rationalizing, is when I can hate my own parent who brought me into this world, it's fine to be misunderstood and hated by someone who doesn't know me as well as my parents know me, or I know my parents. So it is part and parcel of the game. It's part and parcel of the profession. So we should be comfortable with it. And it's good in a way that the judgment or the evaluation happens from both sides, right? We also evaluate our team members, like, oh, that person is not doing a great job, let me go give feedback. The same thing should happen for the leader. So the only thing is, we should be comfortable with it. Yeah.
Thank you for that. I'm going to shift gears a little and ask you about your personal definition of something here for a while. So, across your stellar and star-studded career, how has your definition of success been? And how has it evolved over time, and what is it today?
Thanks for being really kind, Praseedha. I don't know if I can call my career like that.
It is definitely.
Yeah, thank you. If you asked me the same question probably 15 years back, my answer would have been really different. So I'll take you through that entire journey. Today, if you ask me what my success looks like, is from purely professional point of view, I will say, am I being impactful as a leader at my organization? Am I doing meaningful things for the company and for my team? Am I able to enable my team and show them growth paths, right? A lot of times I feel really happy when I could promote someone, right? And the second thing from the family point of view is, am I spending quality time with my kids, with my wife? And purely very materialistic point of view, what my success looks like is, am I building enough corpus for myself to live a very comfortable life without having to compromise on my lifestyle? So those are three components I look at right now. But if you asked me 15, 20 years back, my success looked like, let me go get that award. Let me get my promotion. Let me go work with this amazing company. Let me get amazing pay rise, right? Now it doesn't feel the same way. The definition of success changes at any each milestone of your life. But the interesting thing is, I don't know if I can say this, that my definition of success changed if I didn't do what I did, if I didn't go for the goals, if I didn't work mad hours to be the star performer, if I didn't put enough effort to get promoted, if I didn't choose to work with the companies that I work, because it also gave me exposure to some of the finest leaders in the world. I'm not even talking about India. So when you rub shoulders with the right people, you will also get better a little bit, right? So whatever I've done actually got me here, so that now I'm able to look at success differently. I think the mantra is, be in the game, play that game, sweat it out, work really hard, come back and look at in retrospect, saying that, I worked really hard, but that's not the same thing for me today. I continue to work really hard, but my definition is not really getting that recognition, getting that email, getting that appreciation, or getting that pay rise. It's much more qualitative now.
In a way, that's the dream.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
Thank you for that. That was so inspiring.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So, with your permission, let's now shift into a short rapid fire.
Sure. Let's do that.
Okay, what's a value that you'll never compromise on?
Integrity.
Great. If time wasn't an issue, what would you love to learn now?
I will love to learn any string instrument.
Okay.
It's a guitar, violin, or a veena. And I will learn Sanskrit and Urdu. I'm a big fan of shairis and poetry. When I read Urdu, I feel like this is a beautiful language, but I can't really learn. So those are the 2-3 things that I will do: music and poetry.
If you could ask your future self one question, what would it be?
That's very interesting. Did it all make sense? Whatever you've done
Okay.
or you're doing.
One book or quote that changed the way you think.
I used to read a lot, so it's very hard to pick one quote. Okay.
Tell us a few. The more the merrier.
Oh, it's very, very tough, yeah, to pick someone. I'm a big fan of Adam Grant. I'm a big fan of Malcolm Gladwell. I really like a lot of other books that are written on management and leadership. One thing is that always inspired me is the history of the world is necessarily the autobiography of few leaders or winners.
Yeah.
It's like everything, the history that we read is the life story of few people.
Yes.
Right? That is very inspiring. All of us, the rest of us are probably ants. That kind of stuck with me. That's one thing that I can tell.
Is perfection worth chasing?
It is worth chasing. It is definitely worth chasing. But we should be really comfortable with. So I believe in agile methodology. While you're chasing perfection, do not wait till you push things. Like, give life to whatever you've done while you are trying for perfection. Push code and then fix bugs later. Don't wait for the right time, but by the time you wait for the right time, someone else will come and do your job. Yeah.
What's something that you think should be taught in every school?
School is actually looking at life completely differently. I think philosophy should be taught in every school from day one. Looking at life, because this world that we're living in is going to be much more brutal, much more emotionless. People probably will not care for each other. Just imagine if most of us knew our boundaries and start honoring each individual, we would be living in a much better place. So I think philosophy is one thing that helps people to look at the world as it should be.
Thank you so much, Ramesh. It was a beautiful conversation, and thank you for being so generous with your wisdom. And some of your insights were truly very inspiring, and I'm sure it'll be the same for our students and anyone who's watching today's episode as well.
Thank you so much. I've learned a lot. It made me think. So thank you so much for being really kind and nice. I've enjoyed this entire session.
Yeah, I had a great time too.
Thank you.
you so much.
Thank you, Praseedha. Thank you.
That brings us to the end of a thought-provoking conversation with Ramesh on navigating vision, culture, and impactful leadership in a fast-changing world. What stood out today is that thriving organizations don't happen by accident. Behind every resilient team is a leader who inspires purpose, adapts with courage, and celebrates culture as a living force. If you found today's episode valuable, share it with your network and subscribe for more insights from global changemakers. Until next time, stay inspired and keep navigating the next, wherever your journey takes you.